Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to the Real Food Test Kitchen. Today we are cooking goat meat. If you've never had goat before, goat is very goaty. It tastes very animal-y. But you know how chicken is kind of not so flavorful? Goat is very flavorful. I'm using bone-in goat cubes, which is pre-cut goat. I don't think goat is a very popular American meat, but it's eaten all over the world and it's really loved. I heard that female goats taste different than male goats. I don't know the difference. I don't know what's in here. All I know is this is goat. Before you get started, you're just going to want to thaw this out. Mine's frozen. If you get it fresh, then you already skipped a step, but mine's frozen. I just thawed it out in the fridge for 24 hours. Definitely going to want to put a plate or a bowl underneath because when it thaws, blood can drip everywhere, and trust me, you don't want that in your fridge. It's a disaster. So just make sure something's underneath it to catch all of the drippings. But yeah, so that's goat. It's pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna show you how to cook it on the stove in a little bit of water, a little bit of spices, and let's get to it. So rinse your goat really well, put it on the stove covered with water, and put it on medium-high heat and bring to a boil. As you can see, it is really boiling, so take the lid off before it spills over everywhere, and just give it a nice stir to incorporate all the pieces with the water, and turn the heat down to medium-low. As you can see, there's some foam on the top. If you want, you can remove it. I didn't really bother some of the big pieces I did, but if you leave it, it's not a big deal. It will cook down into the liquid. As the goat cooks, you don't need enough water to cover every piece, but you need enough to keep it steamed. Now it's time to add the spices. The most important, what I would say, is salt. If you add nothing else, add salt, please. That's about a tablespoon. Next is garlic powder, about a teaspoon. Thyme, half a teaspoon. Black pepper, a teaspoon. Cayenne pepper. I didn't really want to put it on my hand, so I just gave it 5 or 6 good shakes. And last but not least, a teaspoon of ginger powder. Stir it all together really well, just to incorporate the spices with the liquid. Make sure the pieces look even, everything's underwater if it can be, and then you can just put the lid on and cook it. This is just to show you what it looks like. I wouldn't really stir it at this point, you can, but it's doing pretty well on its own. It's been on the stove now for about 45 minutes. I'm just gonna give it a nice little stir, just to make sure they're all rotating and cooking evenly. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. It's looking pretty good. At this point, you could eat it as long as it's fully cooked. I've definitely eaten goat after cooking it for 2 hours. The longer you cook it, the more tender it gets, and I find the more appetizing it is, but it's definitely edible at this point. The way you check is by pressing a fork into it. Obviously, if this is like science, I would say, I don't know, there's thermometers and stuff, but the way I do it is press the fork in. If it goes in easily, it's done. If it's really hard to do it, like it's impossible to press a fork in, keep cooking it for longer.
it's really not going to be delicious and it may be undercooked. So as you can see, the fork is going in really smoothly. I could eat it at this point, but I'm going to let it cook a little bit more. About 30 minutes later, I'm gonna check it and it looks pretty good. As you can see, the color is darker than it was before, so I'm gonna call it done. If you're going to keep cooking it, you'd wanna add more water.
So that was goat meat. Not too difficult if you know how to do it. Like I've said, goat is very goaty. If you've never had it before and you want to try it, why not? You now know how to cook it. It's a different meat. It's not chicken, it's not beef, it's goat. It's unique. The water that's left over in the pot can be used as goat stock, so instead of vegetable stock or beef stock, you can use that, but it will make it taste goaty. Goat can be used so many different ways. You can put it in stews, you can eat it with rice, whatever. I mean, it's meat, so I don't know how you eat meat. You can get creative. But this is jollof rice. You can watch my video on that. This is what's left of it anyway. We are big jollof fans in this household. Jollof and goat are like the perfect marriage, so yeah, that's it. Comment if there's anything else you want me to make, if there's something you want me to change. I'm open to suggestions. That's why we're here. I'm more of a food experimenter than a YouTuber, so your feedback is always greatly appreciated. See you in the next video.